Hello, good morning, and welcome to another episode of White Details. Although the Boxster may look black, it's actually a quite stunning dark aubergine plum colour. It's here for a 2 or 3 stage paint correction. It's having interior treatments, it's having the fabric hood convertible care. The disc hubs are being painted to give that fresh look behind the wheels, and the wheels themselves are being refurbished by the contacts as PB powder coatings. As well as that, there is some exciting information on a magazine feature where White Details was interviewed, and then some exciting news about the White Details snapbacks and the baseball caps. So that and a whole lot more coming up in this episode of White Details. inside and dry, contaminated and taped up. Apologies about the noise, that's the washing machine. The wheels have been dropped off with the boys and girls at PB Balagosen. We're going for a factory Porsche GT silver finish. The wheels are actually pretty tidy. There was no obvious curving, it was more sort of corrosion, some flaking on the insides and wear around the nut housing. I've just done a small tiny piece of polishing on the spoiler, but until the washing machine is finished I don't want to do the full inspection process on the camera. To take you around the entire car, there's quite a lot to see, and actually there's quite a few more marks than previously expected. Right, the washing machine has completed its cycle, so before the tumble dryer starts, let's look around the Boxster. Second generation 987 Boxster. It's a non-S. Amethyst Metallic is the colour. I've just ordered a paint touch-up. Amethyst Metallic, Mike for Zulu. This is a common 987 Boxster issue. That beading for the material should be behind the trim, so it should continue behind the plastic. It needs to be roof down, tuck it in, roof back up. That's a common fault on these. It's happened both sides. So starting on the offside rear corner then, you can see the glorious colour beneath, but on the surface we have hazing holograms, buffer trails. I think the bumper at the back here is original paint. That is a nasty scuff. That's had something against there, and a deeper scratch to the right there as well. This isn't a full major paint perfection job. It's not a white detail. Hazy here as well. It's a 2 or 3 stage correction. Call it a minor correction if you will. Very much an enhancement, but do what I can. This will all get tidied up. That's a common Boxster trait again. All the carbon deposit from the exhaust, that will be like new in there. Deeper scratch in the corner, vertical scratch there. Lots of road rash on the very lower portions. Tail lights, not looking too pretty. They've crazed. If you look close, there's a lot of crazing and scoring. I'd like to say there's improvements to be made from polishing, but they might be better to be fully flatted back. Up and across the boot, it's not looking too bad up here. No. As we go down the sides, touch-ups to be dealt with on the edge of the door, touch-ups in the middle of the door, touch-ups low down, big one here. PPF section, albeit I'm not going to cut it like the rest of the paint. The PPF will be much improved with a lighter polish combination. Holograms, swirling, haze, deeper scratches again thrown in the mix. The scratching here under that light, you sort of see it blended into the rest. But if you go top down, the deep stuff stands out. Missing paint on the mirror. Touch-ups required. And with the bonnet straight away you can see it's pretty lacking. It's not the best finish to begin with. It's had spray jobs as well as the bumper. It's not the best job. Improvements to be made with polishing. But under the light, the front bumper is pretty average at best. Less than average, so it has been resprayed. There are clusters of unfinished sander marks present, and the edges, sander marks, sander marks, sander marks. Quite what's happened there. Someone with paint experience will be able to tell me that. Lots of scoring. They've been tooling this area. No paint on these sections on the grille. Near side corner, front bumper, sander marks again. Pretty rough. Say pretty rough, very rough. Headlights are suffering much the same as the rear lights. Crazed. A couple of deeper marks in the front of the near side wing. But otherwise, doesn't look too scary. Vertical. Scratch there. Touch-ups. That's weird. It's a weird mark. There's a patch of overspray. More overspray down here. This sill from the stone guard up it's been painted. And there's a weird imperfection here, but if we zoom in, unfortunately, ain't no polishing gonna improve that score. Holograms, buffer trails. Inside the door jamb, you can see the lacquer line where this side skirt has been painted. It's interesting. Blub of corrosion on the edge of the boot lid. Isn't that plastic? No. That needs to be pointed out to the owner. And again, the hood on this side has failed. That needs to be tucked behind the beading. So, common of the Boxster, the scuttle is very much faded, bleached. That will be trim dressed with Modesta's EPC exterior plastic coating. And then we're back to where we started on the spoiler. I'm not too sure of my next movements. Probably just hit the boot lid, the rear deck, start on a wing and work forward. What's inside the mirrors like? This needs finger polishing down here to get into the corners and the crevices. So I'm going to reach for the usual approach, a microfiber cutting pad with Cartex 3000 diamond cut. See where we're at, do some IPA panel wiping. I'm hoping this Amethyst Purple, Amethyst Metallic, responds a lot nicer than Guards Red, the last job in fact, was a Gen 1 987 Boxster in Guards Red. And Guards Red, tricky, the polish cements itself to the paint, doesn't like to be buffed. It's tricky in the respect of the cutting because you leave lots of damage and micromarring behind. But right, that can go on. And then that can go on there. Not quite as bad as the Guards Red, but you can see the purple is being cut up. There's lots of DA micromarring being left behind. It currently actually looks worse. This is the before condition. It's not yet been cut or polished. So my side actually looks a lot worse for me doing that so far. However, after refining, it comes up like this, so we have nothing to worry about. Cut, refined. Just need to now get that for the rest of the car. Please remember that when it comes to convex, concave, intricate, small, delicate sections, when you're detailing on a car, there ain't no shortcuts. There really aren't any shortcuts available, other than using a 5-inch pad, 3-inch pad, maybe a 2-inch and a 1-inch, and some hand polishing. There have been a few videos circulating in recent months where I've just been disappointed. I've been watching them, I sort of have been very disappointed as to the work that's portrayed from certain companies. Have I said too much? Probably. One video in particular, they were working on the front offside wing on the yellow Rupes foam polishing pad, and there was some trim on the A-pillar here, buzzing away, big 6-inch pad. It wasn't a Porsche, it was a different model car, but the area was far too small and intricate for a 6-inch pad. The only part of this car I would use a 6 pad is here to there, and the bonnet, but of course doing the edges with a 3-inch. Anyway, buzzing away, they caught the trim, the pad exploded because the foam pad caught the trim on the pillar, and they went on to explain how important it is to change the pad at this point, because it itself, a damaged pad, can leave scores and scuffs and scratch the paint. So be careful of that, change the pad. Well, no, that's not the answer. You don't use that pad there in the first place. You would use a 3-inch, a 1-inch to tackle. You can probably tell, it blew my mind. 5" 3" on the edges, top and bottom. 3" comes down, doesn't quite get this edge, and I don't want a chance of getting in there. It's too much pressure on this edge, although that is taped, that edge itself for the rear deck, and it just doesn't make sense when I have access to the nano polisher. Nano from there to there, and then continued down in the bottom of that valley. Not quite perfect, there's a deep mark down here. Much tidier, but also definitely needs refining. But it's true, it's tight, it's done to the edges, it's done thoroughly to the channels, to the convex sections, and I'm not compromising surrounding areas or damaging trim. One thing I have found, however, is the blend mark. So this section I said about how it's been painted from there up in the sill, this wing is original. So somewhere it's been lost, it's been blended. And with a bit of light you can see there, that's the blend mark. Extremely excited to see this one finished. The very lowest portion of the passenger door, come on focus, you can still see there it's a little bit hazy and broken up, much like the wing next to it. But this section, although I have hit the door 5" once, 5" twice, 5" 3 times, edge with the 3 and the 3 up the side and down, the 3 doesn't quite get tight into that lowest corner. So of course, I'm going to tape that, and buzz that. And after lowest section, tightest section, intricate to the sides, same rules apply for the rest of the car. Up onto the bonnet then. I would like to remove the badge, but it's playing silly buggers, the 2 pins under there. I'm not going to get too involved with that. The whole idea that the bonnet's been painted, there could be complications there. I can work around it. The texture here on the bonnet is pretty gross. Without doing a full wet sand with limited, which it's not in for, but watch the square reflection. So you've just seen the area of buffed over here. Watch the square reflection from that mottled to much, much, much better. 2 heavy sets with Cartec 3000 back in the microfiber here has very much helped reduce the texture down, which is good news. Another example from a different angle, the texture around the square light before. After. Much improved. Near the end of day 2, steady progress. To be honest, the bonnet took some work, but very pleased with the results there with the texture leveling effect. So end of day 2, and it is time for the hubs to be prepped and painted. Probably should have been done very first thing before any of the polishing started, but still got a lot of polishing to do, got all the refining to do. Prep the hubs, paint the hubs, a couple of coats, it'll be nice and fresh. Cutting will be complete tomorrow, start the refining, get Modesta's primer down, onwards with the trim, the interior, the exhaust, all the gubbins and accessory items. The hubs aren't terrible by any means, but they will definitely make a huge difference behind the wheels, especially with the wheels being refurbished. In Porsche GT Silver, these would let the appearance down. Mask off the calipers, which are a bit, they've seen better days as well, not a lot I can do to them. Mask off the caliper, do some masking for the disc itself, prep, clean, paint. Although I'd already been over this area with the 3-inch, it's nearly big enough to accommodate a 3-inch pad. There was still a cluster of overspray down the bottom, if you remember from the earlier before footage. So the hybrid has just got tight down there to lift it and shift it. Lift it and shift it. The cloudiness that you can see here, that's the same overspray. Well, not overspray, I think it's just carbon deposit from the exhaust, but right. Oops, bit dark. Rear bumper, pretty much there, pretty much complete. That, where is it? There. Hit that with some paper. It's very much reduced. I am leaving it there. It needed some paper, but a bit deep. Limitations and all that, very much improved. And then the back end here, around the registration surround, there is a tide line there. That's pretty stiff and stubborn. But the registration plate at the end of the day is going to sit over there in disguise and hide, but pretty grubby. And all this has come out from polishing the rear bumper. Lots of rocks and sand and stones. So that leaves the side skirt, the mirrors, both side skirts, both mirrors, the A-frame up and over the top, front and rear headlights, tail lights, and then the front bumper. Right, mentioned at the top of the video, some exciting news. Because of the amount of messages and comments and posts and even emails I've received about where can we buy the WhiteDetails snapback. It is now available as merchandise. This is spruce, there's the grey and the black, all available on Shopify. I've put a link down below. Thank you to those that have ordered already. Put a post up on Instagram on WhiteDetails. If you don't find me there, do so. I'll put a post on Instagram about the hats, and yeah, very well received. They've gone on to all corners of the world. Canada, there's one to Jamaica, one in Dubai, Norway, Denmark. Feeling the love. So if you were one of the first to buy, thank you so much for the support. Maybe it's the start of something bigger. T-shirts, hoodies, apron. So once again, WhiteDetails merchandise now available. The snapback, and there is a baseball cap in navy blue and black available down in the description below. Just about to start, I've done the 3-inch at the bottom here, but just about to start doing the 1-inch lip of the side skirt here. But look inside the panel gap. It's pretty dirty in there. My little hand polishing towel here will certainly be going in the bin after this, because I'll imagine they get pretty loud. Deep into the panel gap now, we're clean. The light doesn't catch it, it's just true and tight. So when the wing is refined and this is cut and refined, we're on to a winner. Let's see what this side like. Yeah, not as bad actually, full of polish and dust currently. Final panel to cut is the front bumper. It's taken some time, it's delicate, intricate, lots of heavy sander marks, concave sections, and then we get areas like this underneath. Obviously that is an inaccessible area for a machine polisher. Unfinished sander marks. You can see how heavy it is here as well, sander marks. So that's gonna have to be a hand polish job. Probably for the raw coarseness of the product, 101 Maguires. Feels like liquid sandpaper in your fingertips. Rub it down, feather it off with some more lesser compound with hand polishing. But otherwise, pull some focus, we're nearly there. It's not perfect, but the worst areas, the intricate areas that needed the attention, have had the attention. And there's one for you. The sander marks that are left present here, there's no way I'm correcting them, buzzing over the drill holes where the registration plate has been. All you're going to do is pick up plastic shards on the pad, which are going to score the surrounding area in paintwork. But the edge of the frame that covers the paint for the registration covers the holes and the sander marks. But above and below, it's been tackled, and overall vast improvements being made. Apart from this section, which I am yet to touch. Good one. Oh, come on.
That's the polishing stages,
out of the way on the Boxster. Finally, it's looking sharp, it's looking crisp, it's looking factory fresh. So now interior, moving forward on the insides. There's not a great deal to do, it's not a full job really, it's just more of a wipe, a vac, a blow with the airline to get the nooks and crevices, the crevices and the crumbs from underneath the seats, get them blown out, get them vacked up, wipe the surfaces, clean the leather, protect the leather. It's quite a nice place to be in there already. And now primer is down, I've got 3 hours before I can do the coating. But at the same time, I've got a lot of other stuff to do. Toothpickery, the door shuts, the wheels. So I might actually save VCO4 and the curing process till tomorrow. Similar to the WhiteDetails merchandise, where you can find a link in the video description down below, you will also find a link to Pro Detailer issue 13 July magazine. The editor of Pro Detailer reached out to WhiteDetails, did I want to be July's celebrity feature, an interview. So, a bit different, and thank you for the opportunity. It's an 11-page spread. It's actually a very nice, well-published magazine. There's a lot of good content in here. An 11-page spread, Jim White, that's me, with information on my early days getting started, some of the mobile days, even sort of what I was up to before detailing, Coupe, missed that car. And then we get on to sort of tips, so 5 tips for business, 5 tips for detailing, and YouTube. Pro Detailer magazine, available now, out now, link in the video description down below. Go check it out. It smells good too. That, boys and girls, is a pretty pristine purple Porsche. If you've made it through this far, thank you for your time. Hope you've enjoyed. As always, either I'm getting old and my process is slowing down, or my OCD is getting worse, because for a small car with no roof, which was like a 2 or 3 stage enhancement correction, not perfect, that's taken me far too long. But I couldn't be happier with the results, and let's hope that Tuesday next week on collection, the owner feels very much the same. So it's had a paint correction, it has had a quick interior treatment, it's had the full convertible hood fabric protection, the wheels refurbished in GT Silver, Porsche manufacturer factory colour, courtesy of the boys and girls at PB Padded Coatings, information down below. The disc hubs were painted to freshen things up behind the new freshly refurbished rims, and then it's had Modesta coatings. Modesta BCO4 for the paint, BCO6 for the rims, EPC, lots of EPC, the plastics, the external plastics for the scuttle, the wing mirror base, the spoiler, the diffuser. So as I say, I hope you've enjoyed. Be sure to follow WhiteDetails over on Instagram for more behind the scenes and updates. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And there's a lot of information down below, the hats, the merchandise, the magazine feature, all there to check out, so please do consider doing so. And also, if you've really enjoyed the episode, you can buy me a coffee, which I very much appreciate. Before we get into it as well, it's worth me just pointing out that the wheel bolts on the car are grotty, they're old, being replaced. They're not being replaced until the owner arrives with them. So the after footage, the wheel bolts look grotty, but by the time the car leaves, it'll be nice and new. Thanks as always, take care, stay tuned for more. Bye for now.